Hello and welcome. I'm Vijay Srinivas. The United States and Iran have reached an interim peace agreement to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and moving toward ending a war that killed thousands of people across the Middle East. The agreement, set to be signed in Switzerland, includes a 14-point plan with a ceasefire extension and new negotiations over Iran's nuclear program, but several sticking points remain. So the deal has been a relief to markets, particularly to the commodities there. Oil has come down to $82 per barrel, and we're joined by commodities expert Mr. Anuj Gupta to decode this further. Thank you very much, Mr. Anuj, for your time. Let me begin with you there. Oil prices have eased to $83 per barrel, and do you think oil can sustain at these levels, and what's the scope is there for future further decline there in the future?
Hi Vijay, how are you? In last 2 months, if you check that crude price is corrected by almost 27%. Because from last 2 months, Mr. Donald Trump said that he wants to close the war. However, Iran was not able to close the war due to some their some guidelines or some points they want to clear with the US. But suddenly yesterday, US announced that, and even Iran announced that they are going to close the war, they are going to end the war. And after that, we noticed that crude oil corrected by almost 7 to 8%. And now Brent is trading around $82, and Brent and WTI is trading around 80 to $80 per barrel. So this is a time where we have seen a sharp correction in crude oil prices, and now crude is trading below at 3 months low levels. So that is impact of the you know the impact of the discussion between US and Iran, and both are agreed on the terms and condition to end the war.
That's right. But how quickly can supply chain get back to normalcy? And how long do you think it might take to eliminate the current bottlenecks?
See, in this context, the Strait of Hormuz has been in the limelight because this is the point where the 20% of world oil supplied from Iran to India and Japan and China, and these contribute almost 20 billion barrel for the supply side. So, Strait of Hormuz is an important point, and in this discussion, they are agreed to open Strait of Hormuz without toll, and very frequently they will start supplying from this point of. So this is impact increase the supplies of the crude oil. However, Middle East, OPEC plus members are agreed to increase the supply. UAE is also agreed to increase the supply, but after the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, we will see a sharp supplies has been begun from the current time, and that will impact on the crude oil supplies. However, in last 4 5 months, we noticed crude oil prices jumped due to this war and due to the supply disruption from the Strait of Hormuz. So if the supplies begin from the today level, so that will impact it on the crude prices, and we can say that after that crude oil prices may correct more from here.
All right. No, but during the current crisis, many countries, including India, adjusted their supply chains and diversified their sources of oil. India was buying a lot of oil from Russia there. Do you expect those procurement patterns to revert to pre-crisis norms, or some of those changes have become permanent right now? How do you see it?
See, it is not easy that we can say that they will come on the pre, disruption level. But because if today Strait of Hormuz open, it will take 1 or 2 months to be on the same line. It will take time to start their productions, to start their supplies, because still there is lots of things, just like you can say a toll and the mines which are still in the sea. So that will has to happen, has to clear from the side of Iran. So there is that will take a lots of time, but still yes, that is a little light of point that people are now can see that crude prices will come down and the supply will resume, but it will take time. So I can say that if all the things remain same, all the things remain positive, so the price will come down towards 75 to $70 per barrel. But if there is any disruption again, price will shoot up from here also.
All right. I think there's another industry that's been impacted, and where the war has wreaked havoc is the shipping industry. There, many shipping companies were forced to reroute vessels and adjust their operations during the crisis. In fact, we had seen what has happened a couple of days back. India was also had also expressed its angst against this. When the U.S. ship struck three seafarers near Omani waters. How quickly do you expect those trade routes to normalize, and are some of these ships likely to remain in place? Because we also hear that lots of sea mines have been placed in in the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran maybe have to remove all of them. So it's going to take a lot of time. How do you see that?
Yeah. See, definitely you are saying right because it will take a time. Because after the crisis, we saw that the freight of the shipping companies, freight of the cost of the traveling cost is also increased. Cost of the freight has been also increased. So if the things become normal, so that will impact on the freight charges also, and that will come down. We can say that. So that is also positive for the transportation cost, because after Strait of Hormuz closed, the cost of transportation increase very increasingly. So that will impact on that. After that, we can say that the supplies of other commodity as well increase sharply, and the business has been will maybe start very soon. But it will take time because there are lots of things. As I said, that the mines and the toll, these are still to be the part of the discussion, which has not finalized yet. So if the things finalize, the transportation cost will come down, and that will impact on the commodity side. So the crude oil prices will come down, because every ship companies who are doing trading for the crude oil, and when they would taking crude oil from Iran and supplies to India and the China, that will start again, and the cost of crude will come down.
Okay. One last question there. It's not directly, related to financial markets, but still, as oil markets stabilize, do you expect Saudi Arabia and the oil, OPEC plus, to reassert the same level of influence they enjoyed before the conflict?
No, I think they are ready to increase the production, because India is also importing crude from the Russia. India are also ready to increase their import from Venezuela also. So if the Strait of Hormuz will open, they will start again importing crude from the Iran as well. However, there are lots of sanction which probably US put on the Iran, but OPEC plus members will increase their production, because still situations is not clear. There is a lots of discussion. There are lots of uncertainty which maybe happen in the future also. So OPEC plus member will increase the production, and UAE is also saying that they will increase the production, and they will put their crude oil in the Indian as well. So the supply is still in the under question mark, because the uncertainty is over here. So I think OPEC plus members will not cut down the production. They will increase the production, and also OPEC members and UAE will also both will increase the production to overcome the supply issues.
Thank you very much, Anuj. Such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.